Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to The Bread Show. Thank you for clicking on this video. Please hit that like button and that subscribe button. It really help the channel out a lot. And let's get straight to it. Hope you enjoy. Jedi Survivor is the first original story to only be available for PlayStation 5 or Series X and above. If I had to put it all in one sentence, I'd say this. Game developers in 2023 do not have to work with the best 2013 had to offer. Even though next-gen gaming is here and available to us, that doesn't necessarily mean that next-gen gaming is here. Remember on your PS5 boxes when you first bought them, they had a nice big 8K video output sticker on the box. What that means is that your PlayStation 5 and probably also the Xbox Series S can output at 8K video. Nowadays, it's pretty hard to find an 8K TV. You won't just see it laying around in the store. 99% of the TVs that the PlayStation 5 is going to be connected to will not even be able to produce 8K video because everybody usually has a 4K TV or a full HD TV. The end goal of the PS5 and Xbox developers while they were making these systems in 2017, 18, and 19 was to pack it with as much technological capacity as you possibly could in an effort to make it last a while into the future, barring any exponential technological growth in the state of the art. And as a society, I'm pretty positive we're through that phase. Side note, I wish phone companies did the same thing instead of releasing the phone every year, but that's beside the point. For me personally, to consider it next-gen gaming, you would have to be playing a game that couldn't possibly exist on the previous generation of consoles. And great games have came out for the PS5 like Spider-Man and God of War, but technically, that's not really next-gen gaming, it's just a buffed up PS4 game at the end of the day. So it's safe to say that the gaming world right now is in a transitional period, which isn't that bad because there have been great games that have come from transitional periods like Destiny or GTA 5. GTA 5 has been in the last 3 transitional periods from the 360, Xbox One, and Xbox Series S and the corresponding PlayStation consoles. 2023 has been a big year for gaming, and believe it or not, majority of developers do not want to leave behind the last gen consoles just yet, and there have been a lot of games that have came out that are available on last gen. Dead Island 2, Resident Evil 4 Remake, Minecraft Legends, Wo Long. They're saying that the next Call of Duty will be on the last gen consoles. Hogwarts Legacy is getting like 3 different ports for different consoles. And it's even suspected that maybe even the Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 4 game that will come out in 2024 or 2025 will still be available for last gen consoles. However, there are some developers that are pulling the plug on trying to make games that support the last generation of consoles, formally ushering in next-gen gaming. Dead Space, not available on last-gen consoles. Final Fantasy 16, when it comes out later on this year, will not be available on last-gen consoles. But the first game to not come out on last-gen consoles for PS5 and Xbox Series X that will be available to play this year is Jedi Survivor. Technically, Dead Space was one of the first AAA games to pull the plug on last-gen consoles, but that, at the end of the day, was a remake and in a weird way is available to play on last-gen consoles. Jedi Survivor is the first original story to only be available for PlayStation 5 or Series X and above. So some things to note as I bring you up to speed. We've already acknowledged the fact that your PlayStation is more powerful than what you're using it for right now, with 8K video gaming output and all of that. We understand that the capacity of your PlayStation is extremely large and you're only using a fraction of its power. But now, the first game with an original story is going to be a release for next-gen consoles only, which is Jedi Survivor. So you might be asking yourself, what is next-gen gaming? Well, first of all, the games are going to be able to tap into the features that were promised on the PlayStation 5. The powerful SSDs, the faster load times. Some of these games are going to get extremely large and load times may eventually spike back up with how large the games are. Basically, the capacity for developers to make whatever game they want with whatever thing pops up in their brain is going to be able to happen. And Jedi Survivor is the first one that we've seen to be able to tap into, to have the opportunity to tap into that. And we see what the developers did to tap into that next-gen capabilities with this game. First of all, let's start off with the size of it. It is 147 gigabytes. I don't know if you know this, but a Blu-ray disc can only hold 100 gigabytes. Which means if you buy this game on disc, you still have to download 47 gigabytes or more than that. It could just be more than that from an online cloud service. Call of Duty's done it multiple times before, but Jedi Survivor, the previous one was not 147 gigabytes. Actually, let me look that up. Okay, for comparison, this game is 147 gigabytes. The last game was 44 gigabytes. The size of this game is getting bigger than the capacity of the disc that it comes on, which at the end of the day kind of questions why PS5 would even have a disc version of its console if games were just gonna get much larger than the discs, unless you're gonna buy Stardew Valley on disc. But anyways, who else but Star Wars to break ceremonious grounds in this fashion? Developers moving on to next generation is big news because of course it is. Why not? The limitations of having to keep up with what the last generation consoles have is gone. Ideas can be grander, innovation is more possible, and I imagine that it's saved on development time. If I had to put it all in one sentence, I'd say this: game developers in 2023 do not have to work with the best 2013 had to offer. So how have games in this transitional period been affected by the last gen and current gen and next gen balances? Horizon Zero Dawn's development team even claimed that the memory streaming limits of the PS4 from the PS5, it basically impacted how smart the AI was and how the AI interacted with other AI creatures in Horizon Zero Dawn's, the mechanical dinosaurs and stuff like that. A PS5 only port would be able to solve that problem, therefore making the AI smarter. Games like Jedi Survivor that are made for next gen, they're gonna have features like the slick ray tracing and 60 frames per second for their game. And then, of course, faster load times. For those of you who got to play Dead Space on the PS5, you noticed that that game was different just by the way that light reflected off the buildings and things like that. When the lights went off in Dead Space, the lights really went off. You really couldn't see much. The Necromorph's AI was extremely intelligent, and the way Isaac had to interact with him was also extremely intelligent. It felt like a PS5 only game, and that was just scratching the surface of what it could be. With the last game, Jedi Fallen Order, being 44 gigabytes and this one being 100 gigabytes more, you may ask yourself, what is in this game that is not in the last game? Well, this game has 4K texture files all throughout the map for a 25-hour story. Ridiculous. They're making the world bigger and making the texture files in that world a lot more intricate and detailed. Now, all of you with an Xbox One, a PS4, or maybe even a Nintendo Switch may be wondering, when will last gen consoles be, sent to the range? The Xbox 360 came out in 2005, and Xbox stopped manufacturing games for the Xbox 360 in 2016. It was a big deal when they announced it in their blog post. Xbox 360 means a lot to everyone in Microsoft, and while we've had an amazing run, the realities of manufacturing a product over a decade old are starting to creep up on us. The way Microsoft handled this situation, though, was with complete transparency. They gave a 3-year warning of the coming famine and diligently worked hard towards 100% backwards compatibility, which people still found a way to complain about, and I imagine that they will complain some more with this generation of backwards compatibility and stuff. The PS5 and the Xbox Series X came out in 2020, and the last gen is starting to get weeded out in 2023, starting with Dead Space and Jedi Fallen Order, and eventually Final Fantasy 16. With comparing things to the future, those things could be nixed probably in 2025, which means the PS4 and the Xbox One will have a 2013 to 2025. That would be a 12-year era, which is comparably the same amount of time as previous generation of consoles. The reasons for this, I don't know. It could be due to the semiconductor shortage, the famous semiconductor shortage that struck the world in 2020. Whatever happened with those that affected the phone companies and if you made a computer, you needed a semiconductor. It affected all of this stuff, and you didn't have any, which means PS5s were rare, and so were Xbox Series X's, and PlayStation. As a matter of fact, to combat the PS5 sales, they pushed out more PS4s. So at the end of the day, that could add to the reluctancy to nix previous gen consoles. The PlayStation 2 had a 13-year era, and the PS3 and the 360 lasted 11 years. That goes from the point where they came out to the point where they were officially discontinued and games were not being made for those consoles. According to a Sony Business Segment's 2022 presentation, first-party Sony titles will be discontinued by 2025. That's just first-party Sony titles like God of War, Horizon Forbidden West. I don't know why I wanted to say Horizon. Yeah, that messed up my brain really bad. But yeah, that's only for the first-party Sony Interactive Studios. Spider-Man, Ghost of Tsushima, stuff like that. And also, FYI, for anybody who has the Xbox One and PS4 consoles, the 13-year runs and the discontinuations, that does not affect the time of support. The support time of, and I'm talking about your console breaks and you need help fixing it, the support for that console usually lasts many years after the fact, 18 years after the console's release. And also, at the end of the day, non-first party developers have the final say on which consoles they'll be making games for. At the end of the day, you can make a game for a GBA emulator, for a GBA. It just might not sell, you know what I mean? The modding community does it all the time with Mario Kaizo hacks and Pokemon Kaizo, which is a new thing, the Pokemon Fusion stuff. But that costs time and money and resources, obviously. You're not just gonna put Jedi Fallen Order on the Switch willy-nilly. But yeah, Jedi Survivor, out right now, 147 gigabytes, first original story to come to next gen only. I'm gonna be playing it today. I wanna see how it is. How do you guys think the transition from next gen to current gen consoles, or current gen to next gen consoles, will happen? Will it be smooth? Will we have 100% backwards compatibility? And how much better do you think video games can get? I know we've seen the unrecorded stuff online, but how much better do you think video games can get, as close as possible to real life? And does that really help video games? Because there are some games that don't try to imitate real life at all and are still good. But yeah, let me know in the comments below. Let me know in the comments below if you even have a PS5 or an Xbox Series S, because they are in stores normally right now. Thank you for watching. Thank you for staying this long. If you stay this long, consider subscribing. Consider joining the gang. Thank you. Thank you all for everything. Love it. Spread love, give inspiration in all you do, and peace out.
Welcome to the Grand Show. Take 2.
It just might not sell, you know what I mean?